Hello and welcome to Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gary Dick. Well, it appears the COVID-19 pandemic didn't slow down venture capital deals in Indiana. The 2020 Indiana Venture Report from LaMothe Ventures shows 160 deals last year compared to 134 the previous year. Of note, deals in the pre-seed, the early stage category, $500,000 or less, more than doubled to 100 from the prior year. I'm pleased to welcome back to the show LaMothe Ventures CEO Chris LaMothe with more on the numbers and what they mean. Chris, as always, welcome.
Great to see you, Gary. Thanks for having me on.
All right. This was a surprise to me when I got the report. Pandemic, lots of problems across all industries, yet we saw an increase in venture activity in Indiana. What's behind the increase?
Yeah, if someone had told me this back in April or May, I would have said there's no possible way that could happen. But we really did see an increase, especially in the pre-seed, seed, and early stage area through the partnerships that LaMothe Ventures has with universities around the state and also with communities around the state. So a lot of activity of people starting companies, getting excited about taking ideas to market.
Well, and you mentioned that activity regionally. Not surprisingly, much of the activity is here in Indianapolis and central Indiana, but the report also shows a bit of an uptick, depending on where it is, regionally around the state. What do you think is driving that activity outside of central Indiana?
You know, it's interesting. We've put a lot of effort into our partnerships in different areas around the state, really, in a way, nation building, trying to convince the communities that entrepreneurism is an exciting way to grow both personally, but also grow businesses. And it's beginning to take off.
On the flip side, we talk about those early stage pre-seed investments on the increase. Later stage investment, later stage venture capital, a little bit of a challenge.
Yes, it slowed down as people were getting into the Series B and C. There nationally, it was off. So I think that what we saw was a lot of people at the early stages willing to take some risk and get into business and take ideas to market. But there was a bit of a slowdown on the high end of venture capital, not just in Indiana, but really around the country.
Yeah, Chris, in terms of where that activity was in 2020 and perhaps will be again this year, the life sciences accounted for about 60% of all venture activity in the state. So the life sciences remain pretty hot here.
Yeah, and that's an exciting story, frankly, for Indiana, because we've been working hard at trying to get more life science deals moving, and Indiana really started to take off in life sciences, a big jump in 2020, and I think 2021 is going to look very good too. Yeah,
as you look at the report overall, I would say it's positive. We've touched on those positives, but to put it in perspective, Indiana still has a long road to hoe when it comes to venture capital, where it needs to be to fuel businesses. Give us some perspective on where Indiana is with respect to the rest of the Midwest and country.
Yeah, if we start just with the Midwest, Gary, there are seven states in the what's called the Great Lakes area, and Indiana is third from the bottom. So the reality is we've had some significant movement over the last 3 or 4 years in Indiana, but we have a very, very long way to go. And then if you take a look at the Great Lakes states in comparison to national, we're at the bottom. So we still have a long, long way to go. Indiana has a long, long way to go for us to really jump other states and be where we should be in terms of innovation, startup, and venture capital investment.
All right, final question for you, Chris. A big question. What's it going to take for Indiana to get there? Business climate seems to be positive, cost of living, those types of things. Is it policy? Is it support from government? What would you like to see happen to get Indiana where it needs to be, in your view?
That's a great question, Gary. And I think that what it is really we need our public sector leaders to recognize that we've got a rare opportunity to dramatically leapfrog other states. When you take a look at where Indiana was across a number of categories 15 years ago, we were in the bottom quartile across all the states in the country. Now, in many of those categories, we're in the top 10 states in the entire country. There is, frankly, no better place to start and grow a business than Indiana, We need to take that message out there. We need to triple down on what we're doing in terms of investment in entrepreneurial startup and in innovation growth.
Yeah. Great perspective, as always, from Chris LaMothe, the CEO of LaMothe Ventures. Venture activity on the rise, but a long way to go. Chris, it's always great to see you. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks, Gary. Good seeing you.